Good afternoon, everybody. Look at this old school video. Hands in the shot, book in the shot. Whoa, we're going back a few years. So Rasa had asked if it was possible to kind of do a flip through this book. So I thought I would take the time now before it's Wednesday as I'm filming this. It's about 11:30. I'm just about to head to the comic shop to see if they got in a copy of Hate Revisited #1 for me. They didn't have one when I went in last week when it came out. I'm hoping that they had some quick turnaround. This is the bigger shop here in town, so I'm going to see if maybe I got lucky and that's coming, because I'm pretty anxious to read that one. So this one I pre-ordered. I heard it was coming out. This is a Dark Horse book. I can't see the camera. I'm trying my best. If there's something out of frame, I apologize. I'm going to try my best to keep everything in frame. It's been a while since I've done this. This camera's up on a tripod here in front of me. I heard this one was coming out. I'm collecting the Richard Corbin library of the reprints. There's a lot of Hellboy that I haven't read. I've read bits and pieces here and there, but I figured this was a fantastic way to not only get a bunch of Richard Corbin stuff, but also to read a chunk of Hellboy stuff. So you can see it's got kind of like that fabric spine there, and then the nice image on the front, the gold text on the side. It looks beautiful. I'm again running out of shelf space, so I either need to make some more shelves or look to get rid of some books. How's that looking? Yeah, that's pretty good there, hey? Okay. The one that I was I'm interested in all of this stuff, let's be honest. But the one that I was really interested in was this, is it the Crooked Man, I think, his story. One of those stories that I always hear people talking about. I've started reading that one and I am really digging it. I've been away from this book because I've been reading, my favorite thing is Monsters book 2, and I've really been getting into it. I'm about halfway done that book. My reading has really taken a dive this year. I haven't read nearly as much as I normally do in the past number of years, but I'm really engaged with that. My favorite thing is Monsters, so this one has been put to the side for now. So here you can see what's contained in here. A foreword by Mignola, Macoma, The Crooked Man, The Bride of Hell, Hellboy in Mexico, double feature of Evil, Being Human, House of the Living Dead, and The Mirror. I'm sure somewhere it talks about all the years. So it looks like stuff is dating back to 2006, all the way up to 2016. And then of course the book itself is 2024, because this is a new release there. So we start off getting a foreword from Mignola himself, just talking about what a fan he is of Richard Corbin, and how, like a lot of people, he discovered Richard's work in Heavy Metal magazine. He talks about The Crooked Man. For a long time, I'd wanted to do a story like this, something inspired by Appalachian folklore. Might have eventually gotten around to doing something on my own, but once I started working with Richard, I knew nobody could do it better. Old cabins and gnarled trees, a people that would look and feel like people, not necessarily realistic, but grounded in a certain kind of reality. And nobody could have created that version of The Crooked Man. I think it's some of the best writing I've done, and I know that's because I was writing it for Richard. After all 3 years, it's still my favorite Hellboy, or sorry, after all of these years, it's still my favorite Hellboy story. So pretty incredible. I think this Macoma, the first time he worked, it was an experiment. I'd already plotted the story with plans to draw it myself. When Richard and I started discussing working together, it seemed a perfect place to try out a collaboration with the clear divide between the real world and the African fantasy world. I was disappointed that I didn't get to draw those giants, but what Richard did was so much better, so much stronger, and so much funnier than anything I could have done. And he seemed to enjoy it, so we were off and running. So nice to get kind of a piece of their collaboration history and breaking down these stories. We get a quote from Mobius here. Richard Corbin stands among us like an extraterrestrial peak. He has sat in his throne for a long time, above the moving and multicolored field of world comics, like an effigy of the leader, a strange monolith, a sublime visitor, a solitary enigma. And then we jump right into the first story, Makoma. I enjoyed this one. I think it is a good introduction. It's interesting. It kind of gives you, or it gives me a feel of the kinds of things that I'm currently, or I've grown to appreciate a lot more. I've talked about it 10 million times on this channel. Consider this 10 million in one. The Jim Henson Storyteller series, where it's taking folk tales from around the world, giving it to different artists and writers, and them creating a story about it. Some of the better Sandman related stories, same kind of thing. The P. Craig Russell, what he did with Thor and the Norse gods, the Norse mythology book. It has that kind of feel to these stories. Like I said, I'm by far not an expert on anything and everything Hellboy, so that would be left up to other channels. Like, look at this. Putting his silhouette in red there is a nice little touch. I love his colors, as always. That seems really lush for even for Corbin. So that's the first story there. We'll flip, and then of course we get some of his monstrous creations here. And we get into the giants and things here, and almost turns like black and white, which is really nice. It's always something that stands out to me, just the use of color throughout a story, how it can kind of just shift as the story goes on. I mean, we're in a much different color palette than we were here, for example, you know, so really shows a beautiful shift throughout a story to bring you along. And then here we are into the Crooked Man. Like I said, I'm this much into the Crooked Man here. Really digging it. I mean, it's gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. His, yeah, I mean, even just his landscapes are just really captivating. So I won't go through every single page of this book. I'll kind of give you a quick preview. Yeah, going into the witch's house and discovering her skin there. And then the first appearance there of the Crooked Man sitting in the woods, and that's quite an image right there. Love that picture. What else can I tell you about this? Maybe we should look to see what the features are. I was using that as a bookmark. We'll come back to that. Actually, I want to make sure that I don't forget my place. Let's see what else we have here. I mean, I'm assuming for those of you who know these stories, you've probably seen it. I can't speak on the reproduction versus the original. It looks pretty great to me. I don't have a side-by-side comparison. I imagine, though, that it's pretty damn close to what it would have been when it was first coming out in single-issue format. So correct me if I'm wrong, if you're seeing something that's glaringly different, if you're really familiar with these stories. Let's see what we have for the back matter as I kind of flip through a bunch of pages here. Yeah, it's great. Really nice book too. I mean, I'm always a little more gentle with my hardcovers as well. In general, I very rarely do this. I very rarely put the hardcover down on a table and really let it open. I know I probably should, to let those pages kind of start working their way and the binding start to work its way. But I'm always pretty cautious. I usually end up reading my hardcovers like this and kind of looking at page to page. I'm always a little concerned with cracking that spine, but that's just a me thing. There's no thought process behind it. I know that if it's a good quality book, it's going to be able to withstand that stuff, but that's just the way I do things. Is this thing still recording? Sure is. House of the Living Dead. Oh, little Lucha Libre. Let's see if there's anything for back matter. I don't believe there was for this one, but it's been a little bit since I've had a flip through it. Yeah, no, not much here. So just a brief biography about Corben, and then also available from Richard Corben. And this is one that I talked about when I showed off this book the first time, that I couldn't believe that volume 1, 2, and 3 were already out. Turns out they're not already out. These are just the ads for them coming out. Book 1 is the only one that's out, I think, now. These ones do have an ISBN number with them though, so I guess they're slated to come out pretty soon. I don't remember. Somebody had commented on the timeline. I apologize. I don't remember who that was or exactly what they said. The gist of it is, I think it might have been Eliza Dominelli. The gist of it is that these haven't come out yet. So no worry on my part, because I don't want to miss out on this library of his works. I'd love to try to get the full collection of those hardcovers, and then some other stuff that you can get. This Creepy Presents by Richard Corben. I'm surprised to see that. They must have reprinted it, because I feel like this stuff sold out instantly, the Creepy stuff. But maybe I'm wrong about that. And then, of course, we get a list of everything Hellboy. So nothing as far as special features in the back, but a beautiful book nonetheless. Really great to have all of this collected. How many pages are we looking at here? Let's see. 308 pages of Richard Corben and Mike Mignola Hellboy universe in one beautiful, beautiful hardcover book. So there you go. I hope you dug that. And yeah, thanks very much for watching.